Okay, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi taala wabarakatuh and very good morning. Thank you for being here today. Um, First, I have to convey a message from the chairman of CPD committee. She cannot be here today. She is under self-quarantine for 14 days at at her house. I was contacted by her to talk about this topic about I think more than a week ago, and I told her that actually I have been presenting this paper before 2 years ago in 2018 at PAM. I don't think I want to do this again, but she said please do it again because last time I think some of the members actually missed because of the registration was full in 2018 and there's some update. So I managed to convince her saying that rather than I'm speaking about this for 3 hours, so I managed to convince her that I'm going to bring our land surveyors friend to take half of the talk. So it saved my time. So I will probably do about 1.5 hours. So the rest of the hours, 1 or 2 hours, will be done by our surveyor Leong. And I would like to say thank you to Pejuta for accepting our invitation to be here today. And I hope that later they will share what we normally we don't see in our perspective. We always see how our works in the angle of architects, but the surveyor, they have different set of problem dealing with architects and also developer and also contractors sometimes. So the topic that was given to me is vacant possession with strata title. So when I start writing on a piece of paper, vacant possession with strata title, then I start to realize actually most of the project actually the vacant possession without strata title. So I thought I want to change the topic. Instead of vacant possession with strata title, I want to change to vacant possession without strata title. But the law say otherwise. The law say vacant possession must, for the housing project, must be with the strata title. So today we are going to share, even later Surveyor Leong will share more story, the real story behind the law, not just about the law. Okay, so how was it started actually? So this is a friend of mine, okay, the Secretary General of House Buyer Association, Datuk Chang Kim Long. He was very active in promoting or protecting the interests the interest of the house buyers. So he always say that a lot of house buyers, after they purchase the unit, they purchase the house, they were cheated sometimes. The project got abandoned, and some of the project, although it is completed, the strata title was not issued. So since late 90s, okay, until early 2000, a lot of issues that the project or the building was delivered without strata title, and at the end after that the developer went into liquidation and nobody cared about the strata title. So the resident has to face the problem by themselves. So they start to look for surveyors, to architect, even the receivers under if the property is under liquidation, then they have to see all the government officers to help them to assist to obtain the strata title. And this was published in the Star in 2002. House Buyer Association, they always receive complaints from the house buyers, a lot of complaints. And starting from 2002 onward, the major complaint basically on strata titles. So no strata titles is the main complaint of HBA, latest statistic. So this is the summary of the statistic. If you look at strata titles issue, 26%. Late delivery and LAD claims, 18%. Certificate of fitness, at that time still no CCC, it was under the regime of certificate of fitness. So 16%. The total, about 60%. So these top 3 issues related to late delivery, and it is consists of 60% of the complaints by the house buyers. Okay, if you look carefully, the top 3, all these top 3 actually related to time. Okay, the first one, strata title delays, also related to time and the government at that time. Late delivery, LAD claim, also related to time, but delay by the contractor or the developer. Certificate of fitness at that time also. Certificate of fitness, or CF, also related to time, but the cause of the delay can be either the government side or the construction side. So to avoid all this delay, so in 2007, the government had a special session and a working group worked together with the board of architects, board of engineers, KPKT. So they said they need to improve this situation. How to improve this? By introducing CCC. So you don't have to wait for the government to issue the CF anymore. So that is one of it. There are, in 2007, there are 3 major changes, okay, that was done in the legislation related to building industry and also housing industry. The first is the CCC. The other one is build then sell. And then I can't remember the other one. Build then sell, CCC, what is the other one? OSC and OSC. There are 3, the introduction of 3 new legislation into the system. So, and then everything, all the parties thought that with the introduction of OSC, CCC, and build then sell, and then the system will improve. But the build then sell should be gradually implemented until 2015. Everything has to be compulsory, 100% build then sell. No more sell first, build later. However, until 2014, even 2013 to 2014, REDA actually conveyed the message to the government that it is not viable, it's not feasible to do compulsory build then sell. One of the reasons because of the cash flow. That will kill the smaller player, the smaller developer. Even some of the bank also, they won't support the 100% financing to the developer. They would rather distribute the risk to the purchaser. So until today, it was not implemented, but you have the option. Some of the developer can choose to implement build then sell through Schedule I and J. Okay. Okay, so this is another example. Even after 20 years, they cannot get the strata title. This is related to a townhouse in the city center. Okay, for those who want to download this slide, you can scan this QR code now. Just give a try if it works. I'm not sure whether it works or not. I tried last night, it still works, hopefully. So that you don't have to screenshot or you don't have to take photo on the screen. So you will have a better resolution. Can anybody tell me if it works? Can? Okay, all right. So the slides, I converted it into a PDF. So if you want to refer, because some of the slide I think is quite small. So if you cannot see, never mind. Later you can look at your phone or whatever. Okay, vacant possession without strata title. So this is what happened. Okay, today there are many projects. Okay, actually was issued with vacant possession without strata title. But how can it be done? Can we just say that, okay, we have the CCC, the building is already completed, but we do not have the strata title? Can the developer issue vacant possession or not? So it's not as simple as that. Okay, because the law states say that vacant possession must be with strata title. Okay, this is under the latest amended Schedule H. Schedule H for the standard sale and purchase agreement for certified development. Okay, under clause 12 of Schedule H say that part 2, upon the issuance of the separate strata title to the said parcel and subject to the payment of the purchase price by the purchaser to the developer in accordance with subclause 5(1) and the observance of all terms and conditions herein provided, the developer shall at no additional cost and expense to the purchaser on or before the date of delivery vacant possession. So what does it say is that, okay, the developer must issue the vacant possession together with strata title, because the strata title need to be issued to the purchaser on or before notice of vacant possession, and with no cost, so at no additional cost or expense to the purchaser. So what happened actually previously, the old, I mean before 2015, before the amendment of the Act, even under the old sale and purchase agreement, after the issuance of CF and vacant possession, the developer has 6 months, okay, to apply for strata title. But now under the new regulation, the developer must issue the vacant possession together with strata title. And under the same Schedule H, Clause 27, manner of delivery of vacant possession. Okay, for developer to issue vacant possession, they must comply with these 5 requirements, A, B, C, D, E. So the first one, A certificate of completion and compliance, as we are all aware of it. And then B, separate strata title relating to the said parcel. So this is where it says that vacant possession must come with these 2. And of course, the other part of it is water and electricity supply are ready for connection and so on, all about payment and amount owing to other parties as well. Okay, so this is the diagram. If you cannot see this one, never mind, it's okay. You can refer to the file that you have downloaded. This is the overall structure. There are 3 parallel lines, okay, under DCP procedure. DCP is dealing with construction permit. So for any development, okay, the developer and consultant has to deal with 3 parallel legislation. Okay, DCP procedure mean the first place the land matters, and then to get the planning, land titles, the planning, building plan approval, permit for construction. Then after the building plan approval, then they have to issue notice of Form B, okay, Form B for commencement of work. And after the commencement of work, of course, all the Form G 1 to G21, the 21 form, until at the end, after the inspection, PDC 8 is all the storage system. After obtaining all the clearance from the 6th department, then only the CCC can be issued. So there is one line. But if you are developing certified development, then the second layer, the next line will also be applicable. So where actually you must get a ciphers, and then the schedule of parcel must be filed with the Commissioner of Building, and then SSS will come to the picture. So what is SSS? I will explain further what is SSS. And then the submission of proposed strata scheme, then obtaining the CPSP, apply for strata, until at the end, obtaining of the strata title. We will talk in detail later. And there is another one, okay? If your development is a housing project, so you have HDA, Housing Development Act procedures, okay, including the developer's license, and then signing of sale and purchase agreement, and then the stage certification from 2A until 2H. Then the vacant possession, where actually the stage 3, issuance of notice of vacant possession by the developer will take place. So if we combine, okay, let's forget about the building plan approval first. Okay, there is different set of problem altogether. So if we combine the DCP procedure, the Housing Development Act and strata title, you see the middle row there. So this is how it's going to be overlay, and then this is how it's going to impact to each other. So for housing project, okay, first, okay, the application for CIFUS is CJ Formula Unit Share. Okay, so after obtaining, okay, the CIFUS from PTG, then the architect or the developer actually need to file the schedule of parcel with Commissioner of Building. Who is Commissioner of Building? Okay, Commissioner of Building actually is actually Commissioner of Building is a mayor or the Datuk Bandar, but most of the time the mayor will delegate the power to the officer in charge for this. So that person will be the Commissioner of Building for that particular locality. For example, in PJ, they have a Commissioner of Building for PJ under BPJ. In DBKL, they have a Commissioner of Building under DBKL. Then with all these three, okay, ciphers, building plan approval, schedule of parcel, file with COB, then only the developer can apply for housing developer's license. So submit the application for housing developer license to Jabatan Perumahan Negara or KPKT. With that, then only the sale and purchase agreement can commence. So if any developer or any party for a development more than 4 units, if they sign the sale and purchase agreement before obtaining this APDL, then it is an offense under this act, under Housing Development Act. Mary, more seat here. Okay. Okay. The issue is SSS. Okay. What was stated in the regulation? It says that the architect must certify the completion of superstructure stage. Superstructure stage. So what is superstructure stage? So under form G1 to G21, there is a form G4 which mentioned that the completion of superstructure to be signed by the engineer. The substructure is underground, superstructure is above ground. There is the direct understanding of architect. So superstructure, completion of superstructure mean that the completion of the superstructure, the building structure, the column, the beam, the RC frame. So that is our understanding. So when the regulations say the architect must certify the completion of superstructure, we all say that, okay, yes, we can certify the completion of superstructure, SSS, upon completion of the construction to stage of G4. Okay. Then we thought that after that, the land surveyor, because with the completion of SSS, superstructure stage completion, then the land surveyor can come. It's not can come, they have to come to site and to start the Strata survey, to start the survey for subdivision. So you have to remember, you only have column, you only have beam, okay? You don't even have wall. How are the surveyor, how are they going to do the survey without the wall? They do not know where is the boundary. So maybe at the center of the beam or at the edge, which alignment, where is the position or the wall in relation to the column. So that is impossible. So the surveyor cannot survey something which does not exist. Then it becomes arguable. So when is the wall is going to be completed? The wall is going to be completed and certified completed only at G12, at the completion of the building. Then that gives the whole shock to the architects, because architect will say that G12, the building is fully completed already. So when the building completed means that everything, including the electrical, mechanical, the building is completed other than the road outside or other than the fence outside. Most of the time, the G12 was certified just a few days before issuance of CCC, because the building is completed and we just wait for the clearance letter. Okay, by right, technically, the clearance letter should be issued by the local authority or technical agency within 2 weeks. Okay, let's say inspection for 1 or 2 weeks, then the clearance letter 2 weeks. Technically, sometimes it does not happen. So the most 1 month after G12 certification by the architect, CCC can be issued. So the surveyor will not have enough time to do the Strata survey from the date of G12 until the CCC. So 1 month may not be enough. Okay. So if you look at this diagram, okay, the time constraint here, the vacant possession under Schedule H is 36 months. Okay, but the actual process, later Surveyor Leong will clarify in detail. Okay, based on the information that I obtained from our previous discussion, the fastest possible time to obtain the strata title is 7 months from the certification of SSS, superstructure stage. The fastest is 7 months. So if the developer need to issue the vacant possession with strata title, it means that the construction has to be completed 7 months before the strata title can be obtained. So that means that literally the construction period has to be shortened by 7 months. So by 29 months, the building must be completed because they need to wait another 7 months before they can obtain the strata title to issue to the purchaser. So this is a major concern to the building industry, especially the housing industry. Okay, so they have to rush the construction. For the developer who has money, it does not matter to them because they can start the construction until 60-70% completion, then only they start selling, sign for sale and purchase agreement. But for developer who depend on the sales for the cash flow, then they will get into trouble. Okay, because if they wait another 7 months, then they have to pay the liquidated damages for 7 months, and can be amount to millions. So this is the issues. So after we realize that actually the superstructure stage completion is not G4 and actually it's G12, then we realize that actually you need to allow more than 7 months from that certification stage until the actual issuance of the strata title. That is considering that the government is perfect, no delay at all. Okay, if they have delay, then it will delay everything. So what is SSS? Okay, under the Strata Title Act, Section 8, okay, 8, there's a amendment, Section 8A1. It says that, okay, for the sale, of course, for the sale of a certified property, okay, in the case where the sale of or agreement to sell any parcel of the building or the first of such sales of agreement take place, and the document that certify the superstructure stage is issued after the commencement of this act, this period is 3 months from the date of issuance of the document that certify superstructure stage. So basically there's a time constraint for the surveyor, the land surveyor, to submit the application for strata title. So they have 3 months from the time you certify the superstructure stage. So if you certify the superstructure stage completion wrongly based on the G4, then after 3 months, even before the building completed, before the wall completed, the time's already gone. Then what happened if the application was not submitted with that 3 months? I will tell you later. But because this act was implemented in June 2015, some of the project was ongoing at that time. So they give some scenario, different scenario. For example, in this case, it's for a new project. Okay, but for the project, okay, in the case where the building is completed after the commencement of this act, which is June 2015, and the sale of the agreement to sell any parcel of the building of the first or such sale agreement took place before the commencement of this act, mean that the building construction started earlier, before June 2015, but stay under construction and completed after 2015, and the sale already commenced before, then the 3 months period will not commence from the date of SSS. The 3 month period will trigger after the issuance of the Certificate of Completion of Compliance, CCC. Instead of SSS, it becomes CCC. So this is another issue here. Okay, the way this clause was drafted is a bit confusing. So when I first looked at this clause, I think 3-4 years ago, before 2015, okay, or early 2015 when this was implemented, even our friend Mr. Chan from Japan also argued. He said you must have the CCC, then only you can submit the application. And then I said, oh yeah lah, this clause say that you must have CCC, but actually it's different condition applicable to different scenario. But at that time, the whole people in the workshop, okay, our friends say that you must have CCC. But the following workshop, we realized that no, it's not correct. Then we start to change again. That was very confusing time at that time. I think it was 2015, 2016. Even there was a regulation, a circular, say that you must have G12 for submission of the application. And then later they say, no, the law never say you must have G12. And then cancel. And then the later confirmation is good enough. But later it come back with another circular say, no, you must have G12. So it was really confusing. So even the C also says that you must have the CCC. So there are many scenarios because during the transition in June 2015. And, okay, so this is the implication, okay. So if the surveyor or the parties, the developer fail to submit the application for subdivision, it is an offence, so under the Act. Where an application is not made within the period specified in subsection 2 and 3 and within the period of such extension granted, okay, the government can give can grant extension for 1 month. If they cannot finish within the 3 months, the survey, you can apply for extension. They probably can give you another 1 month. So if still cannot finish, okay, in respect of building or land under subsection 4 or 5, the original proprietor shall be guilty of an offence. So the developer will be guilty. So the fine is 10,000 ringgit minimum, but not more than 100,000 ringgit, or imprisonment. I think imprisonment for 3 years. Okay, 3 years, yes, imprisonment for 3 years, or both. So this is the issues. So now we thought that when we first realized about SSS, so we had a workshop at Pejuta. Thank you to our friend from Pejuta. So we have a representative from Bar Council, Pejuta, even Jupam, Reda from Reda, and from PAM, of course, and LAM as well. We were arguing. I remember when we were not very clear about this, okay? What the surveyor see is different from what architect and developer see. To us, as architect and developer, what we want to avoid is the delay in vacant possession, so that there will be no LD, okay, liquidated damages, okay. So that is what we want to control. So we were arguing. I remember there was a whiteboard inside the Pejuta meeting room. We draw the whiteboard, and the drawing was there, I think, for a few months. The next meeting we still argue the same thing. I think 3-4 meetings we argue about the same thing because we look at things differently. Until one day I realized what surveyor was talking is different from what we are thinking. So because of this clause 7 and 8, it becomes critical to the land surveyor. They must know the beginning of the time, because if they fail to complete within 3 months, they will be, the proprietor will face the consequences. You have to pay fine, or you can go to jail as well. And we never realized that. We thought that it's up to you when you want to start to survey. Why worry? As long as you have to complete, and the strata title can be obtained by or before the date for vacant possession. So that is what we are thinking. There was really asked for determination of when the SSS trigger. And the developer, Reda, and even myself say it's not important at all. What we want to know that when we can get the strata title. We keep on arguing until I realized that This is the reason why. Okay, to the surveyor, this is more important. Okay, because that will trigger the period, the 3-month period. And then we start to look into how to solve this problem. So then we start to debate. So under the Strata Title Act, Section 4BB, this is the amendment, there's a definition of superstructure stage. Superstructure stage means the stage upon completion of building works as duly certified in accordance with the relevant bylaws made under the Street Drainage and Building Act 1974. So what is this definition referring to? It says that the building works, building works. It's not other works, it's building works. As duly certified in accordance with relevant bylaws. So what it says that under the Street Drainage and Building Act, there are bylaws. So this bylaw is referring to Uniform Building Bylaws. Under Uniform Building Bylaws, there are 21 forms need to be signed and certified before issuance of CCC. And there's only one form that refers to the building works, that is G12. Although that it was not mentioned under the Strata Title Act that you must certify G12, but the definition of superstructure stage actually refer to the building works. So we were shocked with this definition because in our mind, architects and engineers always believe that or always understand that superstructure is a superstructure. But under this definition, the superstructure is building, not the structure, not superstructure. So in fact, I think under the Land Surveyors Act, they have different definition of structure. Structure means I think it's building. Maybe later Surveyor Leong can share with us. So what during the workshop, we all argue and debate. We say that maybe we have to change the definition. So we all agree that we should change the definition. So in the red below that, it says that the definition should be completion of building works up to the stage completion that are necessary for the measurement of all parcels, including any accessory parcels and common property needed to be shown on the strata plan. So this is what we agreed. So we say, okay, we will do this. Okay, we will tell all our members, this is the new definition of SSS. But our member from Bar Council say, wait, okay, wait. Don't tell this to your members yet. Let me check whether this is all right or not. So our member of Bar Council later on in the following meeting say that AG chamber, the AG say, no, this is not right. Why? As long as the act remain like that, you cannot change the definition of the law. So SSS defined as building works, mean that the building has to be completed. So we face this problem. So that's why we cannot send the circular to our members. So we do not know how to solve the problem until at the end, our friend from Pajuta, they came out with this list. So they call this a wish list, okay, workshop on minimum completion on site for superstructure stage guidelines. So luckily our friend from Pajuta, they help us, okay, because we architect, we don't know what actually the land surveyor need, okay, for them to do the survey. We thought that, okay, the building completed, you go and do your survey lah. Okay, some of our land surveyors say that the developer always call them to do the survey. When they go into the basement was flooded 5 feet. How are they going to do the survey? So at the end, they prepare this wish list. So after several workshops, we fine-tune the list, and then LAM has agreed that to adopt the list. So the board of LAM, board of architects, the board has agreed to issue a circular to the architects. So this is a new circular to 2019. It was issued last year. So please be aware of this circular. If some of you can download the circular from LAM website. Okay. If you are not aware of this, you must know this, because otherwise, if the project is delayed, the developer can come after you. LAM already issued circular what you should do to face the situation. If you say, sorry, I do not know about this, and then you may be charged with negligence, okay, for omission in your duties as a professional architect. So this is what the circular says. So in accordance with Section 8A1 of the Strata Title Act, the certification for completion superstructure stage is required to indicate the commencement of 3 months time frame for the submission of application for subdivision of a building or land by a licensed land surveyor. So we must issue the certificate. So, but that one can only be done with G12. Okay, with G12. So my recommendation is that after the completion of building with the G12, you put in a letter saying that I hereby certify the completion of superstructure stage, and attach a copy of G12, give to the land surveyor and also to the developer. Then you have to be careful. The date of that letter actually mark the beginning of the time frame. So don't unnecessarily or don't prematurely give that notice to them, because that will kill the whole project. Because if the building is not ready, they cannot do the survey, and then the developer will be fined. Okay. And certification requirement under this act are additional statutory obligation that architects are obliged to comply. An architect appointed as PSP is to certify and make necessary declaration under the act, and shall not unnecessarily refuse to comply with these requirements. The board has to issue this notice because some of the architects say, no, this is not in my scope, I don't want to do this. Only land surveyor was paid to do this. So there's some confusion here. So that's why the board say, no, we have to put this in writing, let all the practicing architects understand. So this is your obligation, you have to certify the SSS. And the Section 4 Strata Title Act, okay, superstructure stage is the one that I mentioned just now, actually referring to the certification under the Street Drainage Building Act, which is G12. Thus, it gives the meaning that superstructure stage completion will trigger upon certification of Form G12 by the PSP upon completion of the building works. So where the appointed land surveyor shall be duly notified, you must notify. Okay, it's no point you certify the completion, but if you do not notify, the land surveyor won't know. So they was waiting for you to certify. You already certify, you put the date, but if they are not informed, 3 months period gone over. Who is going to be responsible for that? So because your duty is to notify, so it will be your obligation to notify the parties. Okay. And number 5, however, this is very important. However, to prevent delay in preparation of the submission of application for subdivision, PSP may progressively allow a land surveyor, a licensed land surveyor, to carry out the strata survey by notice of completion of part of the building whenever it is physically completed and ready for the survey work as per the condition in Table 1. So to avoid delay, sometimes when the project is too big, you have several blocks under one submission, one application, you cannot expect the land surveyor to finish the survey and the drawing for 2,000 units within 3 months. Okay, so sometimes now for affordable housing, for example, some development 2,000, 3,000 units, you cannot expect people to complete within 3 months. So that's why this suggestion was saying that whichever part of the project, let's say you have 5 blocks, whichever part of the blocks, one block complete first, notify the land surveyor, okay, this block is ready. Okay, you can start, you can commence the survey now. But you have to remember, the moment you notify the surveyor, you must be fair to them. Do not notify them to go for survey when the building is not ready. It is stay under construction, or the wall is not complete, or you have intention to remove the wall, you cannot do that. Okay, because the moment the land surveyor did the survey, then it will drawn in their plan. They have to certify that, which is later you have to also certify on that. So if you're going to change at site to move the wall, even the accessory parcel, planter board or whatever, then if the land surveyor is not aware, so what was declared actually is not accurate as what was constructed on site. So that is also important. Okay, so that's why the government come out with another regulation that I'm going to explain with to you after this. Okay, so table 1. So what is table 1? So the detail in table 1, I'm not going to share with you here, but later Surveyor Leong will detail what they need you to prepare for them to go to site. Okay, so by doing that, if you notice, okay, notice for survey actually can be issued earlier, but this is not a regulated notice under the legislation. Okay, the official notice is on open certification of G12, but prior to that, you can always give partially. Let's say if several block, or even if you have one block, 50 story, if 20 story already completed with wall, everything, then you can notify the land surveyor. You can start the survey for the first 20 stories first. So this is how you can actually jumpstart the survey, so that you can reduce the risk for the 3-month survey period here. So at least, okay, you have start earlier. Upon certification of G12, maybe just a few more units that need to be surveyed. Okay, so this is an example. Okay, this is an example of how the complication in implementing the certified development. So this is from my previous slide, strata titles, certified development challenges. So this is example where actually, okay, I have finished the part on SSS. Now I'm going to proceed with other issues, okay, related to certified development. Just I will glance through quickly. So this is example where actually it's mixed development with a commercial podium, retail, commercial retail podium, residential, clubhouse, and hotel block. Okay, so this is the whole development. So for any development, especially development that related to certified strata title, first step that the developer need to do is the application for ciphers, and then after that, after obtain the ciphers, then only they can proceed to the next stage. Okay, so these are the provision under the law, under the Act, Strata Title Act, Section 18 and 19, where actually it required that every parcel shall have a share value as approved by the director, and every provisional block shall also have a share value. So basically, for the title, for strata title, you must assign the share value for every parcel. Okay. And this is the computation. Okay, I don't want to talk about this. Okay, most of the time this will be done, okay, by our surveyor friend. Our land surveyor will prepare this according to the guideline or whatever the requirement. There are many ways to compute this, but there is a standard way actually recommended by JUPAM. You may also come with other way, okay, if it is acceptable. But the easiest is just follow the suggestion or guideline by JUPAM. Then after that, okay, find the schedule of parcel with commissioner of building. This is the provision why you need to find the schedule of parcel. So we are jumping from one act, the Housing Development Act, Strata Management Act, Strata Title Act, because it is how the all legislation was structured. So my personal view that when the lawmakers, the authority, the lawmakers made this regulation, there was no proper coordination. So that's why you can see part of the implementation under this act, under this act, under this act. This is another example. So Strata Management Act. Okay, Strata Management Act 2013. Section 6 says that a developer of any building or land intended for subdivision into parcels in development area shall not sell any parcel or proposed parcel unless a schedule of parcel showing the share units of each parcel proposed parcel and the total share unit of the parcel has been filed with Commissioner under this part. So it says that um, the share unit or schedule of parcel need to be filed with Commissioner of Building before they sell the unit. So although it's commercial development, for example, let's say commercial development actually is not regulated under Housing Development Act, but this provision for under Strata Management Act still require that the schedule of parcel to be filed. Okay. Under Housing Development Act, you must file first, then only you can get the developer's license and you can commence here. But under non-residential development, you are not governed or you are not controlled, okay, for you to comment the sale and purchase agreement in that manner. But still, this provision say that you must file first, even though you don't need the license, you still need to file the schedule of parcel with Commissioner of Building before you can commence the sale. Okay, I want to share this. I want to highlight this because we had issue with this before. Okay, this is under the guidelines. It says that the land surveyor, okay, perakuan juruko tanah berlesen, okay, in the schedule of parcel dalam jadual petak. So for every schedule of parcel, the land surveyor must make this declaration. Saya so and so, seorang juruko tanah yang dilesenkan, so I mean that the registered land surveyor memperakui menurut section 6, okay, bahawa bangunan-bangunan yang dicadangkan untuk dipecah bahagi kepada petak-petak yang ditunjukkan ini boleh dipecah bahagi di bawah peruntukan akta akta milik strata. So basically the declaration to say that yes, under the schedule of parcel submitted, the declaration to say that yes, this building is able to be subdivided, and then the land surveyor put on the signature. Okay, but other than the land surveyor, the architect also need to do a declaration. The declaration says that, okay, the architect professional or the engineer, okay, memperakui menurut section 6 Akta Pengurusan Strata bahawa bangunan-bangunan yang dicadangkan untuk dipecah bahagi kepada petak-petak yang dibina mengikut plan dan spesifikasi diluluskan, dan mana-mana pindaan kepada plan dan spesifikasi di bawah Akta Jalan Parit dan Bangunan 1974 dan mana-mana undang-undang kecil yang dibuat di bawah akta itu yang disediakan boleh dipecah bahagi di bawah peruntukan akta hak milik strata 1985. So what the architect need to declare that, okay, he need to declare that the building that is going to be constructed is in accordance with the approved plan or the approved amended plan, and it can be subdivided in accordance with the Strata Title Act 1985. Okay. So this become an issue. So when this regulation was first introduced, many architects say, I don't want to sign. I don't want to sign on the land surveyor's plan, because under our code of ethics, under the architect's code of ethics, we cannot sign on other people's land, other people's plan. Okay. This is for a reason, because I think those days people are selling signature. Okay, so any draftsman or anybody just draw the plan and you sign on the plan, you charge money, you take money. So under the code of ethics, board of architects say that you cannot sign on the plan which is not prepared by you or your staff. If other party prepare, you cannot sign that plan. So but not in this case. This is different. So there were complaints came to the board of architects saying that architect refused to sign this. So then the developer cannot submit, cannot deposit the schedule of parcel, okay, schedule of parcel, because the architect refused. It become big argument. And then the architect say it was never in my scope of work to sign on the land surveyor's drawing. Why now you developer ask me to do so? And which is quite true also. If you look at the law, the law says that the developer's architect, okay, need to sign on this plan, but it never mentioned the PSP. So some of the architects say that I am the PSP, but in this case, it say that the developer's architect need to make this declaration. You go and find other architect lah, not necessarily me, can be any other architect, which is true also. The law say that the developer's architect is just to verify that this can be subdivided. It can be other architect as well. That was the argument. So the complaint came to the board. Board said we need to resolve this. So the board of architects issued this circular. The circular 5/2017 says that now with this circular it becomes the obligation of the PSP. Okay, it says that certification requirement under this act are additional statutory obligations that architects are required to comply. An architect appointed as a principal submitting person, PSP, is to certify and make necessary declaration under the Act and shall not unnecessarily refuse to comply with this requirement. So with this circular, the architect can no longer say that I don't want to sign. This is not my scope of work. So with this circular, it becomes the additional task for the architects to certify. So additional task come with additional fee. So it says that architect shall charge additional fee for this certification services at the rate of 500 ringgit per parcel for each certification filed to the commissioner. This circular solves one problem, but it makes the developer jump. So the complaint went to KPKT, went to many parties about this. Even my land surveyor friends will say, "Wow, so high! You charge 500 ringgit just sign on our drawing, 500 ringgit." I say that is considered cheap. You know why? It's very very cheap, 500 ringgit. For every parcel, okay, let's say it's just affordable housing, 400,000 ringgit. Okay, you charge only 500 ringgit to sign on the drawing and take responsibility. A lawyer who print the standard sale and purchase agreement, sign, and even not taking responsibility on the form, because the form is not by him, the form actually is by the government, sign, charge a lot higher than this. Okay, 400,000, maybe the charge is 4,000. Okay, 4,000 ringgit, and you don't need to check because it's standard. And the plan sometimes you have to check because it's not standard. So I say maybe we should increase to 4,000 as well. So the surveyor sokong, and I heard that land surveyor also revised the fee scale already. Correct or not? Yes. No, I think this is a very strong message that we want to send to the government. Don't simply introduce regulation unnecessarily. Okay, if you introduce regulation unnecessarily, because architects always do things for free. Okay, you look at the Housing Development Act Schedule H. You have to certify stage 2A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H. Then later certify for surplus money, certify for making good defect. How much do you charge? 0. Later they will increase. They won't stop at H. I, J, K, L, M, N, Z, Z, A, B, C. Because why? Because architect never charge. So that's why the government say, just get the architect to do it. Just get architect to do it. So to stop that, recently LAM has issued another circular. I'm not sure how many of you noticed. So there's a new circular issued by LAM for every certification. For site visit, 1,500 ringgit. For every certificate, if I'm not mistaken, 300 ringgit. So, because sometimes the developer also say that, okay, I have completed 2 units out of 1,000, can you come and certify? Okay, completion of windows. Tomorrow, oh, another 3 units, you have to come again. And sometimes the bank also say, I want the certificate, 1 certificate for every unit. So you imagine if you have 1,000 units, you have to prepare 1,000 certificate for every stage. And it is free. So now, when the board say, okay, 300 ringgit for every certificate, you want 1,000 certificate, 300,000. Now they start thinking. They start say, okay, never mind, you can combine 1,000 unit in one certificate. So this is what we want to tell them. It's not that we want money, but please be rational. Okay? It's like the goodie bag. Sometimes you come to PAM, you have a free goodie bag. You just take. You already have Sika catalog at home. You stay take one because it's free. Sometimes if you're lucky, got thumb drive inside also. But if they start say, okay, you can take 10 ringgit, then you say, oh, I already have at home. Why should I take? So that's why. So we need to put all this as deterrent for unnecessary regulation. Okay, I'm happy that today our land surveyor friends support this. I thought they were complaining before why architect so expensive, 500 ringgit per parcel. So I think good that we have support this. So please remember, okay, the other things that if you look at this paragraph 4, it says that architect shall charge fees for this certification service at the rate of 500 ringgit per parcel for each certification filed to commissioner. So if 1,000 unit, so 500,000 ringgit they have to pay to the architect for this certification. Then they submit, they file with the commissioner. If they change the design, they want us to resubmit, got the building plan approval, and refile with the commissioner another 500,000. Okay? They have to pay another 500,000. The reason why, because we don't want the developer to simply change the design and ask you to change the design, resubmit, refile. So you are doing double work. So that with this payment, at least now the developer will think twice, make sure everything is confirmed, then only file with the commissioner of building. Otherwise, they will always say, never mind, file first, change later. It's never mind to them. But a lot of mind to architect. Architect really mind, no? Okay. So we hope that will resolve some of this problem. Okay, so this one I borrow from Radar. So this is the sequence, okay, the flow chart on the process. Okay, so we have already discussed about this. Okay, when PSP refused to sign for SOP, can another architect sign for it? Okay, we talked about it just now. Okay. All right. So at the end, the application for advertisement permit and developer license, and then sale and purchase start. So for non-residential commercial development, although they are not regulated, as I have mentioned earlier, okay, although they are not regulated under the Housing Development Act, but the Strata Management Act say that a developer of any building on land, not necessarily housing. So any building on land, so if you were intended to sell as certified development, then a schedule of parcel must be a deposit, must be filed with Commissioner of Building. So this is an example of the case study where actually the development, they tried to do a mixed development comprised of residential, clubhouse, so the rest is provisional block. So this is a big issue now among the industry players, okay, because okay, for filing the schedule of parcel with Commissioner of Building, you must get the building plan approval first. Okay, you must get the building plan approval, regardless whether you have intention to construct or not. Okay, you must have the building plan approval. So in this case, this example, this developer actually for phase 2, phase 1 podium is already completed. For phase 2, they intended to launch the housing, the residential component together with the clubhouse. Okay. Under the sale and purchase agreement, this is possible. Okay, different phase. Okay. It's possible to be done. Okay. And then, but the issue is that, okay, the requirement, okay, for you to obtain the formula unit share or ciphers, you must get the building plan approved. So it means that you must submit for approval everything. Before 2015, okay, before application of ciphers in the legislation, okay, for provisional block you can just do the outline, just have the volume and the GFA, for example. You don't need to have the building plan approval because it's a provisional block. You probably want to refine the design later. But now, under the regulation, you must get it approved, okay? Because you need to apply the ciphers. Although that provisional building, you are not going to construct now. So what does that mean? It means that after your building plan approved, the share unit is assigned for this provisional block. You cannot change the design anymore. You cannot change the design anymore. So previously we thought that never mind because the market's bad. Okay, we maintain the overall share units, but we want to change the design. You cannot change the design. Why? Because the ciphers is referring to the approved building plan. The moment you change the design, you resubmit the building plan, you have to do the whole process again. The application for ciphers have to be done all over again. So then we are trapped in this situation. Okay, let's say in this particular case that the phase 2, the first residential block, let's say the developer want to do it now, but the provisional block maybe they want to do 5 years later or 3 years later. Then we will face the problem because the building plan has a lifetime. The building plan approval is only valid for 1 year. You probably can extend another year. If you are lucky, you can extend another year. But after that, you cannot extend anymore. So it means that your building plan will be lapsed and then expired. So by the time 5 years later you want to commence the provisional block, you have to resubmit. You have to submit fresh. And at that time, the local authority may impose a new condition because they are entitled to do that. The moment your building plan lapses, you submit new, they impose a new condition. And when the new condition comes in, it may not tally with your previously approved ciphers or your title for the provisional block. So these are the issues, the first layer of the issues in the certified mixed development. Okay, the state authority may, by notification in the Gazette, make rules not inconsistent with this act. This is about rules and the formula for the share unit ciphers. So PTG has a guideline on this. So this is the guideline. Permohonan ciphers hanya boleh dikemukakan oleh pemilik asal seawal selepas pelan bangunan diluluskan. It means that you must get the building plan approved first before you can apply for ciphers. Okay. Okay, I have talked about this. Okay, so the issue is that parcel title will be issued. Okay, after completion of this, okay, parcel title will be issued. So strata title will be issued for phase 2 and also phase 1 because phase 1 is completed earlier, the retail, and then the phase 2. Okay, the first one no problem because retail is not governed under Housing Developer Act. Okay, after completed, you issue strata title, you can issue the vacant possession. Okay, or you can issue vacant possession without strata title. Okay, for a commercial because not regulated. But phase 2 is there are 3 things that you must do it simultaneously. First, the vacant possession. Second, the strata title, and the third one is CCC. Okay, to give effect to vacant possession, the CCC has also to be issued, and also strata title. In this scenario, strata title can be issued, no problem. Okay, so later, phase 1 and phase 2 strata title will be issued with provisional block, provisional title. But the problem here is that the CCC, because you need CCC for vacant possession as well. But in this case, CCC cannot be issued. Why CCC cannot be issued? Because the building is incomplete. Only one part of the building completed. So what you can issue is partial CCC. So what is partial CCC? So under bylaw, okay, if you read the uniform building bylaw that you buy from the bookstore, you cannot find this. Okay, this is the problem because the one that they publish is the Uniform Building Bylaw 1984. They do not include the revision that was done in 2007. So this is the actual law. Okay, certificate for partial completion and compliance mean that, okay, the the partial CCC form F1 as set out in the second schedule in respect of any part of a building partially completed, subject to the condition. Okay, what are the condition? All the hydrant, fire hydrant, sewage, everything, technical requirement, fire lift must be completed for that part of the building. So in our example just now, for the phase 2, that block is already completed. It's functional, the lift functional, lift fire system, firefighting system is functional. You can issue form F1, partial CCC, so that people can move in, people can occupy the building, but the only issue is the developer cannot issue vacant possession. The developer cannot issue vacant possession. Why? Because vacant possession requirement is full CCC. Okay, and then what is CCC? This is under bylaw 25. Also, you cannot find this in the bookstore. Okay, so unless you obtain this from Percetakan Negara. Okay, okay. It says that when all the technical condition imposed by a local authority have been duly complied with, when Form G1 to G21 is ready, when all essential services. Okay, so the difference here says that when all. So it means that all the part of the building must be completed. The previous one say that part of the building, so not all. So these are the two major difference. But the part of the building has to be fully functional. Okay. Okay, so LAM has also issued a circular. This is a old circular to 2010. Okay, to say that, okay, Form F1 is meant to cater for a building that requires any part of the development to be completed ahead of the rest. Okay, so example, okay, would be a complex such as shopping mall with residential or commercial towers above. Okay. Okay, if you read this carefully, it also say that therefore terrace houses completed in these different phases do not fall under these categories. So let's say if you have terrace houses, okay, 10 rows of terrace houses, okay, 14 units every row. After you completed 2 rows or 2 blocks, you want to issue PCC? No, you cannot do that. It's not applicable under for F1. The other thing is that if you look at this one, okay, the example here says that when you have commercial complex at the bottom, you have residential tower on top of it. You can issue F1. Yes, you can issue F1 for the completion of the podium first. Later, when the tower completed, you have to issue full CCC, except in the example that I've given just now, because on top of the podium, you have more towers. It is not wrong for the architect to issue partial CCC for the residential, but it is wrong for the developer to issue vacant possession. Understand or not? Okay, because the vacant possession you must have full CCC, not partial CCC. Some purchaser complain to the board of architect. Your architect has wrongly certified partial CCC and vacant possession for the housing, for the house that I bought. So when we study, okay, sometimes architect also wrong for one reason. They do not just certify the completion using the F1, okay, but they also certify for vacant possession. If they certify, okay, the building, part of the building is completed with F1, tower 1 completed, I issue you F1. And you notify the developer, yes, the building is completed, is safe for occupation, here is the F1, partial CCC, but you cannot issue vacant possession. You have to remind the developer you cannot issue vacant possession with F1 because the law say that you must have full CCC. But in this case, instead of advising the developer, the architect himself issued the vacant possession, say that now partial CCC has been issued, the building is safe, I certify vacant possession. So the board of architects received a complaint, so action has to be taken to these architects. So it's negligence in that part. And it's very clear under Act Section 3 of Housing Development Act. It says that certificate of completion and compliance means the certificate under the Straight Drainage and Building Act that certifying that the housing accommodation has been completed and is safe and fit for occupation, but does not include partial certificate of completion and compliance. Okay, we have debated this with the KPKT as well. We say that the building, the part of building that certified with partial CCC is as good as the building certified with full CCC, because it has all the services, it is safe, you have the firefighting system, everything, that's good. So by right, we should be able to issue, the developer should be able to issue vacant possession with partial CCC. But until today, the government say no, JPN say no, unless if the act is changed. So there's some debate still ongoing about that. So this is some of the proposal. Okay. So in fact, in the Schedule H, Clause 27 also mentioned manner of delivery of vacant possession must be with CCC. Okay, and the release of money, okay, under Section 22E also mentioned, okay, what is the charges or the fine, okay, for the person who released the money. So any stakeholder who releases any money to a housing developer or to any other person knowing that such an act is contrary to the provision of the sale and purchase agreement shall be guilty of an offence and shall on conviction be liable to fine not less than 10,000 and shall not exceed 100,000 ringgit or 5 years, okay, imprisonment, okay, or both. So this is the reason why I say that, okay, whenever you issue the F1 in under that situation, you must remind the developer, okay, that you still cannot issue vacant possession, although that I have issued the partial CCC. Okay, the worst case is that some of the architect issue the notice vacant possession. Notice vacant possession means that you can release 17.5% of the money, okay, to the developer. So under this section 22E, okay, you can go 5 years to jail or pay the fine 100,000 ringgit. Okay, it's important for architect to know. Otherwise, by mistake, when most of the time the bank will ask you to certify stage 3. So you have to remind the bank, I cannot do this, okay, under this provision. So the same thing, this one focus on architect. Just now it say, just now it says any stakeholder. Okay, this one is for architect or engineer. The same thing. Okay, wrongful certification also the same. Okay, you enjoy 5 years in prison and 100,000 ringgit fine. So can vacant possession be issued under this phase? So the answer is no. Okay, schedule, because of the Schedule H, so CCC, vacant possession cannot be issued under partial CCC. Okay, however, thinking of to resolve this problem, KPKT, the KSU of KPKT has issued a letter. I think this was in December 2016. Sorry, 2017. 20th December 2017. So this is the letter. So penjelasan mengenai isu berkaitan CJ pelakon siap dan pematuhan borang F semasa penyerahan milikan kosong. So in summary, what it says that there are several conditions for vacant possession. So this letter intended to advise the developer and architects. However, before we share this, before the board of architect and PEM share this letter to architect, we study this letter, then we realize that the contents of this letter actually is very confusing. So we say that we better give explanation rather than circulating this letter. So, okay, this paragraph says that bagi pemaju yang telah mematuhi setiap syarat dan keperluan yang telah ditetapkan dalam ketentuan merancang dan building plan bagi pembangunan berfasa, di mana pemaju telah mematuhi semua keperluan mengikut yang ditetapkan dalam G1 to G21 tanpa syarat, arkitek profesional sebagai orang yang utama mengemukakan boleh merupakan CJ pelakon siap pematuhan borang F. This says that when you have a phase development, after that phase, that particular phase completed, comply with BP planning and completed G1, G21, you can issue the CCC. This is correct. This is talking about the phases in a different land title. For example, you have one master title, you subdivide first. You subdivide land to 3 or 4 phases. First phase, 100 unit, okay, completed, issue CCC. Second phase, another 100 unit, completed, you issue CCC. So, okay, which subdivision first? Mean that separate title, with separate title, so you can issue CCC. And bagi pembangunan berfasa, setiap keperluan dan perancangan pembangunan tersebut telah mendapat persetujuan OAC. If you have one submission of planning, 5 phases, you indicate first phase, different building plan submission, second phase, different building plan submission, then this very straightforward can be done. Except that the error here is say persetujuan OAC. Actually, it's not OAC. OAC has no power. It's supposed to be planning department. OAC is the one-stop center to receive your application, to communicate with you. But the authorized person with the power delegated from the mayor or the YDP is the head of planning department for planning and head of building department for building. So if you look at the letter, if you read the letter, you may not understand what, but this is what they're trying to explain. So when you have phase 1, phase 2 on different plot, so of course you, after completion of phase 1, you can issue the CCC because you have a detached buildings. But the next paragraph, bagi pembangunan integrated, pemaju boleh menentukan garis pemisah demarcation bagi keseluruhan integrated demarcation dengan syarat maju tidak membuat perubahan kepada pelan bangunan yang asal dan memastikan tidak mengubah plot ratio. So here, the key word here that you have to understand is the subdivision. Subdivision. In this case, it say that maka bagi pembangunan integrated yang telah siap mengikut subdivision, arkitek profesional sebagai orang utama yang mengemukakan boleh mengeluarkan CJ, perakuan siap dan pematuhan. Bagi pembangunan integrated, pemaju hanya perlu menentukan outer setback saja. Okay, if you read the whole letter, you won't understand. It's very difficult. I try to read this letter, so I do not understand until I put it into illustration. Then I understand what the government try to explain. Okay, this is what the government try to explain. So it's subdivision of building. So the building, the actually it is one complex, but there is a subdivision to the plot before the construction. So however, it says that if you look at here, the outer, bagi pembangunan integrated hanya pemaju hanya perlu menentukan outer setback sahaja. What is outer setback? So what they are trying to say here, because of this 1, 2, 3 plot, now the main plot has been subdivided into 3 plot. You can construct tower 1, 2, 3 separately. You can submit the building plan separately. Although that it is integrated side by side, but the basement structure is independent. This basement structure independent, except that you can request a special permission from the local authority to construct this building without setback. That is what they are saying. What you need is only the outer setback, so the setback at the perimeter. So this is one concept of integrated development, but it is stay on different title. It is stay on different title, except that the building is back to back, but independent structure. So the letter say that if the development is like that, then upon completion of every phase, you can issue the CCC. You can issue the CCC. Sorry. You can issue the CCC. Because the basement, everything is independent. Although that from outside you see the building as connected, but actually it's different plot independent structure. There are probably some expansion joint, whatever. Okay, so that upon completion you can issue CCC for this. However, okay, for this kind of the development, okay, where actually you have the podium and the basement as one, okay, as one building, and you have the tower phase 2, 3, 4 on top. Okay, the moment you complete phase 1, you cannot issue full CCC. You have to issue partial CCC. Phase 2 also same. You cannot issue a full CCC. You have to issue partial CCC until the final phase, phase 4. Then only you can issue CCC. Okay. So actually the problem that we have here, this problem cannot be resolved because it's a shared basement. There is no subdivision of the plot. Okay. Then the letter also say that sehubungan dengan itu, kami dengan mengambil kira justifikasi di atas yang melibatkan bangunan berfasa dan pembangunan integrated, dan pembangunan itu telah siap mengikut fasa yang ditetapkan seperti mana di dalam pembangunan pelan pembangunan yang telah diluluskan, dan pemaju juga telah memenuhi kesemua keperluan mengikut yang ditetapkan boran G1, G21, maka setiap pembangunan telah siap mengikut fasa. Arkitek profesional sebagai orang utama yang mengemukakan boleh mengeluarkan perakuan borang F, mean that CCC. The letter says that, okay, in that situation for every phase you can issue CCC, but if you look at the diagram again, this is the letter. It say that subdivision, okay, and this is what it means. Okay, the plot has to be subdivided first, although that it is integrated. So yes, the letter is correct. This one you can issue the CCC for every phase, okay, but not this one. Okay, the keyword in that letter is subdivision. This one because you do not subdivide the plot, so you cannot issue full CCC, but you can issue partial CCC, okay, until the completion of all the project. So this residential tower issue cannot be resolved because CCC cannot be issued, vacant possession cannot commence. Okay. Okay, I don't want to elaborate about this. Okay, we are running out of time. Okay. Okay, so how to make it work? So when we have multiple mixed development, so the ideal way is basically to develop other component first, and the residential component has to be the last one. For example, start with the podium, yes, because it's not regulated under the Housing Development Act. Then you can issue vacant possession with partial CCC, and then the hotel block, you can issue the vacant possession with partial CCC. Nani is here to remind me that time, 2 more minutes, 10:45. Okay, so this is the ideal way to solve the problem. Then the residential component has to be the last one. Then because the last one, you can issue the full CCC, then only the vacant possession can do. So can be issued. So please remind your developer, if you have mixed component development under one building plan submission, the residential component has to be last, unless you have to subdivide and do it in different phase, different building plan. Okay, so I have explained about this manner of delivery of vacant possession. Okay, just the other things that I want to remind you, if you are not aware, there's a new circular, General Circular number 2, 2017. Okay, after the amendment of Housing Development Act, LEM has issued a new circular. It's not new actually, 2017, but I noticed that many architects still refer to the Circular 2010. So Circular 2010 is now superseded by this Circular 2017, related to the certification for stage 2A until 2H. But what I want to highlight here is stage 3. Okay, stage 3, please take note that, okay, for the release of 17.5% of money, okay, to the developer, the vacant possession has to take place. Okay, so please take note
of this reminder by the Board of Architect does not need to issue any certificate for this stage, for stage 3 vacant possession, but before the developer can effect vacant possession, the certificate of completion and compliance (CCC) shall have been issued by the architect as the PSP. Okay, so do not certify stage 3 vacant possession. Okay, most of the time the mistake is when you certify for release of money to bank. I saw that many architects certified stage 3. I certified the vacant possession of this project, of this development. Okay, you can do that, it is not wrong, but you will be liable for that. Okay, you will be liable for that. The law doesn't say that architect cannot certify. So that's why the board say that the architect does not need to issue it. Okay, so I think that's all for now. So this is the real situation. So between the industry and the regulation, so I learned this from our lawyer friend during the meeting at Pejuta from the Bar Council. He said that this is our regulation, our legislation that we have. Okay, we have the round hole, but we want to push the square peg in. So this is what happened. Okay, because the issue with strata title, the government introduced all this regulation, these rules, this act, just to solve only one problem. That is a problem of the one that I mentioned earlier, the strata title not issued to the purchaser. This problem exists since the 80s, from 1980s, 90s. So they introduced all this regulation, expecting that at the end, when the purchaser receives the vacant possession, together with strata title. So all sort of regulation was done. Okay, but later we will hear from Surveyor Leong whether it happened or not. Today, whether the delivery of vacant possession comes together with strata title or not. Although that the act says that it has to be with strata title, but later we know. Then what happened to the whole? It will be broken. Okay, the industry will suffer because you try to push the regulation. You are a square peg trying to fit into a round hole, and then the square one say, no, I am square peg trying to get out of a round hole, and I am freaking stuck. So it's not going in. Try to get out from the situation. That's the reality. So welcome to heaven. Okay, crap, because the square cannot go inside the round hole. All right, thank you very much. Okay.
Happy morning, everybody. Happy morning. I would like to send greetings from Pejuta President, the Council, especially the Pejuta Strata Title Permanent Committee members, of whom two are with me here. Today they are my bodyguards, Mr. Yong and Mr. Kevin Yap. They both are very active strata title surveyors. And we are all working in the Pejuta Strata Committee, trying to lead the industry as far as strata title work among the licensed surveyors. So we receive a lot of feedback, a lot of complaints, a lot of problems, and also, to be honest, we don't have all the solutions, but we're trying. I got the message to be your speaker only on Tuesday, so a few nights couldn't sleep, and to collect all my thoughts, to put it in my PowerPoints, not my expertise. So anything shortcoming, please try to forgive me. And also the Secretariat, Datuk, asked me for my CV. In fact, among the meetings, there's no time to write CV. So actually my CV is very simple. In 1968, I applied to college to study architecture. But they say, Mr. Leong, you have no imagination. Meantime, the land survey course not enough students. So they pushed me there. And that was a long time ago. Yeah, but I still come back, and it's an honor to be among all these architect friends, whom I want to be one of you, but I couldn't, not qualified, and also to be in this building. Now, I try to bucket with Datuk so that we both will not repeat a lot of things together on common topics. Yeah. So he was kind enough. He sent me his 65 slides. I think I take 2 days to digest. It's very heavy, Datuk. I think those who understand at least can get a master degree in Strata. Now, I would then tell Datuk, yours is the entry and the main course, and mine is only the dessert. And I will only talk about the last part of the 100 meters. The last part. So my heading is called Vacant Possession with Strata. And I make it a simple abbreviation, VPST. Artinya, when you serah kunci, you must have Strata. Before 2015, of course, everybody know, within the 3 years when building completed, developer get CCC and surrender the key vacant possession. That was very easy. But in 2013, there's one naughty act that came in. They call him the Strata Management Act. And because of that act, they also affected the Strata Act as well as the Housing Development Act. One of the main things they wanted is when you serah kunci, that Strata must be given to the purchaser. If not, you cannot give VP. You must apply to KPDG for exemption. Many people apply for exemption. And you know what? We as licensed surveyors are called to KPT as if we are a criminal. Hey, why didn't you apply? Berapa tahun dah? Apa you suruh buat? Ada bekerja ke? That kind of questions, you know, it really make us a bit furious at times. And we have to, so-called title, give chronological report. While we do that report, we, in a way, expose many weaknesses. Why PDG takes so long? Why COB Sangkut 7 months? Why Jobam takes so long? Why developer didn't do this? And how come the approval takes so long? Sincerely, honestly, among our colleagues, licensed surveyor, also be responsible for that non-delivery. So these are the 3 basic laws that came in 2013, the middle one, SMA, but only gazetted in 2015. And since June 2015, it became a very hectic excitement among all the industry players in housing scheme. The killer clause is in this Housing Development Control and Licensing Act, clause section 27, which Datuk just now has briefed us. I go through again, it's important. 27 says, the manner of delivery of vacant possession with effect from June 2015 is the developer shall let the purchaser into the said parcel upon the following. In fact, the 5 conditions. A and B is what concerns us. Architect, issuance of CCC. Surveyors, separate title relating to the said parcel shall be issued by the authorities. VPST. 2015 June until now. How successful? How many schemes achieved that? These statistics, I got it only 2 days ago. Panas lagi. From KBKT, Kementerian Perumahan. This is, like what Dato say, is VP without ST. Ini yang project tak boleh cabai to get the Strata. And jumlah kelulusan exemption saja, bukan kelulusan Strata. So these 139 projects where the developers are ready to give the keys has asked for exemption. Brother, no Strata, give chronological a report. They give a new date. You must get the Strata. They give you exemption, approve you to Sarakunji. 139 of them. And you see the biggest 4 cities are the one that constitute this 139. How many approved for the past 3-4 years? Nobody can give an answer. Nobody dare to say. But as you search, it's only 3 to 5. 3 to 5 projects only able to achieve that. And what are these projects? Low cost, apartments, no car park. Senang punya. Isn't it? Very simple. If you look at Datuk, the integrated phase 1, not possible. But this is a statistics that tell you something is wrong. Senang cakap, tak boleh buat. Siapa salah? Architect? Surveyors? And to your surprise, down my list, even purchasers is responsible for not getting Strata title on time. Very often, when the building is all ready, when we did all the survey, we are ready to submit, suddenly a few purchasers don't like the car parks which they've signed up because the wife dare not to drive under the ramp. The ramp is going up, 2 bays side by side, her accessory passer, cukup height, 2 meters, tak berani masuk. So they ask for change. Developers always try to be nice, appeal to PDG. So we got to redo all this plan, refile to COB, and that take a couple of months. I do not know my 2 colleagues happen to you. Purchases are one of the causes of delay also. Of course, down the line, you see you have developer, architect, land surveyors, Jabatan Hukum, COB, land office. Everybody, it's just my picture. Everybody is connected to each other. Then only we can move. In the beginning, I put down there theoretical. Theory saja. What is a theory? The theory is when the superstructure stage is ready, issue G12, surveyor come in, 4 months, must finish all the work, prepare all the plans, documents, and present it to Japan to apply for a so-called Certificate of Proposed Strata Plan, CPSP. And they are supposed to approve in 51 days. Actually 51 days, buka file saja. Kemudian, we have to get them to approve CPSP and we apply to PDG within 1 + 1, 2 months. And PDG must approve, get all the Strata title deeds ready, registered, and keep to developer within 100 days. So when we add together, is how many months? Huh? Tak bukan, mana arithmetic macam itu? Lebih lah, brother. 11 bulan. Tak boleh tipu, 11 bulan. This is the theory. This is ideal. Sorry, I must have a drink first. Surveyors are not trained to give public talk, that's why I panic a bit. Architects are always more eloquent, especially when they present their projects. Very easy, sure, no problem. That's why I want to be architect. Now, I would come back to this chart again to tell you the fault of the law. Okay? So this is in theory, and this one come out is a combination, the 51 days, the 100 days by KPDG circular. Yeah, KPDG circular, 3 plus 1 month, 1 plus 1 month, all these are in the act. But I do not want to bore you down with which sections, because that's not important. That one, you want to check the Datuk's lectures. What happened? This one is only a realistic happening, you know. It is not given by Pachuta, nor by licensed surveyor to justify. This one comes from KPDG juga. So they have gone through from Penang to Johor Bahru, search all projects, investigate, and this is their report. From G12 to CPSP, 3 months, okay, on time. CPSP approval, instead of 51 days, 7 bulan, very fast. I have a scheme, 2 tahun tak keluar lagi. Then, from Jopam CPSP, apply to Abba PDG, 2 months. This is how we can. We can control documentations only. But still, there's some big problems, which I don't want to make you frightened. Don't talk about that. Basically, must tell you lah. Must tell you. The developer are still constructing. He's preaching finance problem habis lagi. And you want him to discharge and get a clean title to apply for Strata. Cannot, Datuk. Tak boleh. Last time is, when you get CCC, 6 months we apply. Masa itu dia suruh kaya lah. So he can redeem his title. But now, we see in progress, he must raise fund to cover the debt, get a clean title for me to apply. This is one of the big issues. The government doesn't look at it. That is your problem, brother. Kemudian, when we apply for SWA title to PDG, supposed to be 3 months or 100 days. Yeah? Usually it takes 6 months. Now, can someone add together how many months? 1.5 years, man. 1.5 years. That's why you got 139. 139 apply for exemption. And there are many of us are waiting to apply. We just can't make it. These are real facts of life. You cannot get it. I want to show you a very ugly slide, but it tells you a lot of things. Bukan lah. Okay, my mistake. Now, Pachuta has, at its own initiative, helped several workshop discussions with PAM, Bar Council, Notifier, Housing Buyer Associations, Jopam, I think, KPDG, to see how, as good citizen, we can try to expedite the whole process. So, looking at the law, we say, hey, we don't wait lah. We don't wait. We want to initiate site survey before architect keep the G12. We don't wait for him, especially for very difficult, complex, integrated buildings. 3 months memang tak cukup. So we want to start earlier. But why you want to start earlier? Want to survey. Survey what? Let's look at it. This is the ugly page taken from my man, the field book. As a surveyor, we got to go to site and measure. Measure all the completed parcels, accessory parcels. And one of the biggest headache is those 2.5 by 5. Those are car parks. And those are called accessory parcel. All right? All this marking, either by normal paint or by epoxy, it must be all well constructed, marked out in the various basement floors, upper floors for us to measure. Touch wood, all the parcels in the air don't pose us a lot of problems. Why? Because the developer will push the architect, the contractor to construct as fast as you can so that they can get payment. Am I right? Basement car park tak untung, biarkan dia dulu. Because basement is, especially for a small site, is where they keep all the workers, building materials, site office, and even some lower one, like Datuk said, flooded, 5 kaki, ular pun ada. They never mark all this AP for us to survey, Clubhouse, swimming pool, no problem. Swimming pool, RC work, do together with all other perimeter wall, parapet wall, same contractor, do, no problem. But the timber deck that is forming part of the accessory parcel, our common property, will be left to a specialist who will come only at the last day so that you will not damage his timber floor. How are we going to measure and produce field book? You see my problem? That's why we look forward to architect to understand what we do. This is another page. And to look at it, Japan will come and check all this. So nervous cannot turn the page. Okay. So after a field workshop, where Datuk Izumi was very kind. He tried to understand what you guys want from us. And after that, he went back, he persuaded he can work magic. And then therefore this circular 2019 came about. We would like everybody to know, the engineer, the developer, the contractors, architect, what actually we surveyors need to survey. You don't issue tutorial and I cannot survey. But I will sue you. Because now the law is so stringent that architect and me can go to jail, If we go together, never mind. So this is a circular that came about. My Malay not so good. It says that the lamp says, at any one time, when the building is almost ready, please inform the surveyor to come in to measure in parts progressively. Am I right? But the last line, telah sedia diukur. You must have the physical features for the surveyor to measure, to produce a few books. Then only you call him. Do it in parts. Second, this is table 1. We call it a list of things that should be aside before we can complete our fieldwork to get ready to apply Strata. There are 4 major parts of it for each architect to know. This circular is so important to us licensed surveyor because developer is always pressuring us. Hey, Leong, when can you submit? Don't get me fined, Then I tell him, Datuk, car park bay also not yet mark out, Never mind lah, I count him. Cannot. A lot of things cannot count him one. Scared of the 3 years jail. Now, for the boundary, along the boundary, at least the perimeter wall should be constructed for us to prove that it is all well within the building. One of the basic things for us we have to do is to certify the building is within the boundary. But the architect say, open, no wall, easier for lorry to come in. So you can delay that a little bit. But how about for land parcel? Land parcel survey. For land parcel survey, the build-up area is not so important to us. What we are going to do is to plant boundary stone for each of the land parcel, be it a terrace, semi-D, bungalow. You got to plant the marks. But being experienced architect, you know, making the perimeter fence, the so-called TMB box, TMB meter reading box, the post office, the dustbin, is done at the last part. The pavement of the walkway, the road, almost to the end. Don't do too early, you know, because I cannot get money from all this time work one. Do the building first. So by the time you do that fence, the building is already long completed already. But we have to wait for the last part of the fence to do land parcel. So this is a big problem for us. So that's why in this circular, we hope that the architect understand what the surveyor actually want to survey. And to understand that, they have to tell the developer, hey, Sri, you got to build the fencing wall for Leong to measure first. This is the whole purpose, yeah? And then second part is the tempat letak kereta. What is this one? Okay, this is the, it's supposed it's a strata scheme. We have the perimeter road. The perimeter road, sometimes you have car parking bays also. Am I right? Those car parking bays, please mark out so that I can measure. But I know it's still very dusty, a lot of materials. For him to mark out, actually wrong sequence of work. But if you don't do, how can we do early? So you must do. The second part is the parcel itself. The parcel itself is very simple. The parcel itself, those in the air, constructed already, let the developer claim money, then you can measure, no problem. The accessory parcel are those aircon ledges, the balcony, the planter boxes, yeah? All this, they will build, we can measure. Not so big problem, but second part is free, bebas dari seberang halangan, so that we can go and measure. But most of the time, if you go in at this stage, you still see all the scaffolding are still around. Quite risky also. The third one is harta bersama, common property. The lift core must be ready, yep. And look at this one. Semua pondok pengawal, lobby lift, bilik utility, TMP, pump, apa itu, YouTube apa itu, bilik HU, sebagainya, mesti siap. These are all the common properties which developer is not keen to build in the advanced stage. But you have to build for us to do advanced work for early strata approval. And also please provide us light. My office a lot of torches one. Because why? I mean, you can't blame architect. Because there's no actually energizing of the building yet. You see wire dangling, who want to work, then you're on the line. But for us, susah got to measure, we check on torch light. Maybe we do like rubber tapper, maybe one day we can do that. But please consider the place, give us lighting. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the headache. This one is headache. I also don't know how they help the developer. Especially when they have no place, all the workers are still below. But now, some developers begin to understand the sequence of work. As soon as building almost ready, they spend time, spend money, and upgrade all the workers to ground floor. Move them up, clean up everything, brush it off, mark the paint. Then we survey. So the Indonesians are very happy. Sleeping next to the swimming pool. But this must be done. This must be done. If not, even though we complete all the building in stages or at one go, we just cannot submit because it is an incomplete survey. Right? Okay. I want to bring you two actual life problem where Strata cannot apply. Second break. This is a project where the KM, BP, all loose already. Hard copy, soft copy, given the license surveyor. But in the hard copy, nor the soft copy, each car parking bay, the size not stated. Not stated. So this license surveyor go in the soft copy, and center to center is 2.5 meter. 2.5 meter. So when we prepare the ciphers, we got to follow 2.5 lah, am I right? 2.5 lah. So all the Jadapata COP filing is 2.5 meter. When the building is ready, almost ready, I don't know whether architect or the developer ask the contractor mark 2.4. 2.4 cukup last. That is a minimum standard mah, 8 feet mah. So, and we got extra bay also, boleh jual. And they mark it out. So when you come to the site, instead of 10 bays, now you got 11 bays. What should we do? I cannot show 11 bays, or else my file will just throw out. And also, the number of AP accessory parcel has increased. And each bay, the area has shortened by 1 square meter when we round up. And the total share in it, different. This is a problem. How to solve this problem? I'll tell you later. Datuk, your magic? Okay. Okay. Now, second project, just to make it not so boring, I'll just tell you this story, then I'll give the answer. Case number 2, everything approved, filing done, ready for measurement for strata. Then the developer realized, architect, the front surface facing Jalan Ipoh, no. We make it as an advertisement signboard, banyak untung loh. So he asked architect, amend the building plan. Make ruang iklan. Right? But that is tambahan of AP, you know. Tak apa. How many AP for ruang iklan? 4. Don't want 4 car park bays. Swap. Same number. Tapi dia punya itu, ruang iklan punya keluasan dengan car park tak sama juga, no. Then he tried to adjust until 0 difference. Looks good, right? Looks good? Yeah? But the jadwal still we have to amend. Because now you have advertisement spaces. The first JP, jadwal peta tak ada. So the architect passed the surveyor, the approved building plan. Surveyor do a second JP, we call JP2. Yeah? Architect sign, he signed, PDG endorser. Then they went to do filing. While filing not approved, the purchasers found out. They come after the developer and threaten him. How can you change approved PP without consent from all of us? Don't you know the law? That is what Datuk just highlighted. You must get his consent. How to solve the problem? I come to here now. How come no answer? Blank one. So how? Huh? Let me check the pages. Saya pun tak ada jawapan. Are you okay with you? Okay, ah? No one sleeping, ah? Oh, got sound already. So how? Pada computer, ha? Sini, ha? Computer sana. Dah gerak juga. Point to Datuk and see. Cannot. Datuk. Sorry, Datuk, sorry. Okay. Mention your name, then you come out. In the good old days, when I look at all this, the president's photographs, I know only the front part of the people only. I'm still young. So during those days, before 2015, architect always, along the way, make changes, deviation from the appropriating plan. And when the whole project almost ready, he would do measurement and produce as-built drawing and submit to authority for endorsement. Am I right? That was a wonderful way, the British way. But now cannot really. Submitting as-built building plan no longer works because any of the deviation that affect the parcel, the accessory parcel, we have to get building plan amended. To get building plan amended, you have to get 100% purchaser's consent. Not workable. So the old way of doing as-built plan, the Japan Plan Office would not accept. Number two, can we have maybe battery, maybe? Yeah. Okay, or maybe someone sit there, please come here. We share together one. Okay. But then, Mr. Leong, when I issue my AI, small thing only, no. Cannot, man. I just enlarge my toilet. Tak boleh kah? My bedroom, I besarkan. Tak boleh kah? Can or not, brother? Basically, as long as the parcel boundary is not affected, we will close one eye. Why? Because the area contained no change, still belongs to him. But whether you can do it or not, whether the purchaser sue you or not, I dare not answer for you. So changes that will affect the areas, the position, the quantum of parcel and accessory parcel will require amendment of BP. Then we got to apply, repeat the whole process. Apply to do ciphers, to do filing. It's a great waste of time. Try to avoid that. Try not to entertain the developer. Tell him, cannot. If you want to change, we have to go through 4 to 6 months. Unless so drastic. Japan is our brother, is our enemy. They are very strict, very strict. Yeah? Actually, you are crying. Because the job of a licensed surveyor is to inspect, compare what has been built versus what has been approved. Number one. Number two, we got to produce drawing to show the area for the parcel. So they're also scared. If they kawan-kawan lepas and purchaser come and sue them, they will be in trouble. By the way, PDG got 4 court case waiting. People are suing them for wrong or unfair approval of share unit formula. Those are good old scheme. So we have to meet Japan. And our committee and Japan is continuous dialogue. How we can help each other to expedite approval, issuance of Strata. Sometimes they win, sometimes you win. Next one. Oh. This one already repeated. Number 4. Under Strata Management Regulation 2015, Section 63, BP can only be amended if due to a requirement from the local authorities or with 100% agreement from all the purchasers. The second condition is most difficult. I got a client. He only built one row of 10 number of bungalow and 2 extra large bungalow. So I did for him JP filing 12 parcel. And he launched and he built. Present market very bad. Sales no good. And he only sold 8 units only. The other 4 he's still building. The last one he dare not to start piling. All right. So he said, "Ayah, bungalow cannot sell lah, too costly. Hey, I want to change it into terrace house, sell cheaper." Boleh tak? Cannot. Can or not? Can, provided you get the 8 purchasers to consent. Then he can amend, right? Fair? The law says. But out of the 8, 1 died already. He cannot do it. He can't do it. And that is a stringent of the law that prevent the creativity of developers as well as architects. Pitiful our country. Now look at the next one. Now, if there must be amendment, no way out, we must amend it. Please call the licensed surveyor. Yeah? Talk to him. Because he's supposed to advise the client, isn't it? He called himself consultant. So must ask him to come. These things I want to change. Possible or not? Talk to him, talk with the developers, and see whether that amendment can be done. If can be done, how to do, how fast. Developer always asks you, no, can then how fast? Next thing is, they want it to be approved immediately. Right, next one. Okay. At site, the architects try to insist contractors to follow the approved building plan rigidly, especially those that will touch the boundary of the strata parcel. All right. Can there be control? Can it be done? It should be, because the architect is the boss at the site. And I'm sure that architect also do not want to amend suka-suka punya. It's only when there's difficulties technically, or the developer for some reason wanted to amend. Please call in the licensed surveyor. Then he can tell you, can take how many months, what is the problem. But don't change, build it. How to solve your problem? Too late already. You must let us know. Okay? Most likely, after you let us know, we discuss lah. But if you have built it, then only call me in. I'll give you a warning letter already. That you change the plan without, but no, talk only, you will do that. Okay, next one. Okay, number 7. That is the, okay. Okay. Number 7, I repeated just now, I've gone into details. What licensed surveyor supposed to do at the site to measure everything? We will work together on LAM 22019. All right? My slide finished already, but last night I couldn't sleep. I got 1 or 2 more ideas. For Strata 5 scheme, please remember to provide Management Cooperations Office. Many of the project building plan approved, condominium or integrated, forgotten the MC office. Tak ada. But has been approved. How? We got stuck now. Joe Pams got the hawk's eyes. And he said, must have an MC office. So we marched in, almost want to fight. and he shows us the law. Is in SMA, Strata Management Act, Section 9, 4A. Like it says that the developer is to provide a management office for the MC. Okay, please, those are on the drawing board. How big, how small, they didn't say, put one. Personally, I like to have one if I'm one of the Strata purchasers. Am I right? Yeah, have one. Okay, just a caution. But some people, too much. In the OSC, they say, hey, townhouses, 2 orang saja, mana MC office? We can't, Datuk. We cannot. Just one up, one down. How about those shop lot, ground floor, and 3 floors are offices? Only 4%. Why you want to create an MC office? I have 3 strata title, today got jam. They are very old scheme, 1991, sudah masuk. But developer liquidated. So all gotong royong, bayar duit, apply for strata. They all stay in already. It's all factories, you know, factory, all terrace. And each of them buy strata, ground floor, first floor, second floor, must buy. Sign to S&P. If not, I don't sell you. Others who buy my top one. So all bought. And then these JMP are very good. They appoint one of the property manager, and he'll come every month, door to door, to collect maintenance charges. Then when AGM, too big, no matter what MC office you give, cannot take care. Or at the class, Brigade Hotel, Brigade Club, AGM. But now I've been queried, where is the MC office? Susah cari makan. Okay, I think Datuk, I got one more idea. I got one more appeal to my architect friends. Now, Japan always check all the common properties and the usages. Hey, Leong, this square, use it for what? Switch room. Architect plan says switch room. Malay say what? I don't know. Approved BP is switch room. I cannot put a equivalent, recognized Bahasa version for it. Even plans that just recently approved, sometimes it's a mix of Bahasa and English. And sometimes they're even all English, except the tajuk lah, Bahasa. So we have a problem. We have to interpret. So we asked Japan to tolong. Japan said, tanyalah Dewan Pustaka. Susah kan? Cannot, Datuk, cannot. So I appeal, if possible, PAM come up with a standardized usage of each room. Even the abbreviation. Bilik pump, BP. So we letak dalam plan, BP. You see, in our Strata plan, it's quite a small size plan, you know. A3, is it? About A3, brother? A3. A2, And then for that little pump house, very tiny, you know. And I have to put bilik pump. Where to put? Recently, I was very furious. Japan queried my Strata plan. Because I put common property, tantas. Tantas perempuan ke lelaki? We said tantas is tantas lah tuan. PP cakap apa? Perempuan. Tulis perempuan. I mean, that is the kind of life we are living, you know, for the sake of making developers rich. They must be flexible. What happens if one day they switch? Mana boleh switch? Petiri punya benda mana boleh switch? So we also got stuck. But that place is so small. What for you want to put, you know, all this? I hope future you put TL, tantas lelaki, tantas TP. You know. If you don't do it, Datuk, we go to different state, different modules, different other places. The way they interpret is different. None of the surveyors' plan can be approved 1 round or 2 rounds. How many rounds? 6, 7 rounds, very common. Congratulations, 6 rounds only. If we do not have the standard approbation, I'm not surprised one day your manhole become lobang lelaki. You know. which we don't want. Because all these are nonsensical issues that delay the delivery of Strata titles. Am I not right? We even, as good citizens, licensed surveyor, because Japan, they check our plans repeatedly, you know. Wah, banyak kali dia check. Sampai kita pun letih lah. So, we talk to pengarah, open forum. Pengarah, mana this way? To be faster, huh? When we submit plans, your man check one time thoroughly. We come back, we amend one time thoroughly, you please approve. Kalau salah, saya pergi mahkamah, saya pergi penjara. Tak apa. Tak boleh. Kita mesti jaga. So that's where we got stuck. No matter how we want to try, how fast you want to try, ladies and gentlemen, susah cari makan. Now, do I have a overshot time? How long already? I'm okay, huh? Okay, done already. I want to come back to this theory. Third break. According to this theoretical procedure, we need 11 months to get Strata title. Am I right? That's how we say already. Not 7 months, 11 months we are supposed to get it, given enough time. Assuming all this work, we also have a big problem here. We understand architect, even though we are not qualified to be one. The 21G forms are not certificate in stages. It is a form that architect must get from all the tradesmen, all the department, collect, confirm, all these are covered. Then only he issues CCC. Am I not right? Therefore, the G12, when he signed, Datuk said, 1 week later, I can get my CCC. 1 week, kita buat apa? Isn't it? We can't. And why this thing happened is because when we research, we check back the steering committee that drafted these laws. He said, we were informed when G12 was issued. CCC come 1 year later. You give it 1 month extra one. But that is not actual thing happening. So the law was designed to fail. We can't do it. Therefore, we today appealing, asking, let us do work earlier. Before you start giving G12, we come in. Scaffolding come down, brick come down, we also don't scared. We go and do. Therefore, you see, brothers, that even if we follow this one, we can't make it. And I'm not surprised. The 139 project will keep on increasing. And the approved one still can increase, very slow. Simple project. Then give us another important question. Any government authorities here? Ada, huh? Then we can talk lah, huh? Okay. Tuesday, our committee met up with KBDG. So, we pose a question. Can you really check, does the consumer wanted the Strata title or not at the time he dapat kunci? Is it what they really want? Hey, just now you read the law, he must execute, sign the MOT, memorandum transfer, then you get the key, you know. Bukan sign saja, mesti bayar cukai. Cukai bukan murah. And the low cost is a few thousand ringgit. If you buy a condominium, 1-2 million, 45,000, not surprising. Who wants a Strata title deed? One but not in the beginning Let me use the 5,000, buy a fridge for my wife first in the Tapo. Make it nice, set it down. Housewarming first. Next year, I got bonus, I only pay the stamp duty. Betul tak? Isn't that the reality of life? So if you propose, hey, like that VP, and then within 2 years, developer must get the Strata title. Wow, 2 years bagus Datuk. Because the way we expedite everything, 1 year, 1.5 years, we can control. 2 years still can go for short holiday. But at the same time, we call it mission impossible. I mean, you can have the law, and we are law-abiding citizens, architects and surveyors. We are all professionals. We'll do our best, but our best still cannot make it. Am I right? Now, KPDG is having a different thinking already. They know the problem. They say, tak payah G12 lah. Bila-bila mah pohon sajalah. It's good. It's good. Because when we talk to Datuk Ezumi, can you issue G12 quickly? He said, not that easy. Because G12, the meaning of G12 is not only for your strata work. We still got a lot of things to take care. With due respect, we respect you. Okay, susah nak dapat G12. Then KPDG said, satu surat pun boleh lah. Letterhead, company, okay, all the features are ready for measurement. Nothing holding Mr. Leong. Kapa ke apa-apa, property ke, parcel ke, semua sudah. Kalau dia dapat ukur lah, tangkap dia. That kind of flexibility we are talking of now. Now, in the whole STA, Strata Title Act, the architect is supposed to issue documents to certify completion of superstructure. But in the whole act, he did not talk about G12, you know. That's why we got a confusion. So we refer to AG. This AG said, reading all the things, they are learned people, it means G12. That's why G4 tak boleh terima. G12. Sekarang, apa-apa G pun tak mau. Kalau boleh, you just pohon first. And there are 2 projects they apply. They apply. Yeah, without even G12. Sampai sekarang tak keluar pun. Sangkut juga. Because there are so many people are involved, so many checkers, and everybody got some comments. And I have not talked about the problem caused by developers. In case one of you are a developer, then I lose all my jobs. There are many things. How about departments? The whole Klang Valley is it is the concentrated area of Strata. 20 years ago, we still can see terrace houses, you know, single story, 1.5 story, 2 story. Everybody got a landed parcel, a landed title. Today the land cost so high, everybody is in the air. Every file is for title file. In our lembaga, I serve as a member lembaga, 70% of the job are strata title. So the influx of strata application has multiplied many times. Proportionately, the super officers, the authorities must also increase by that proportion. Betul tak? Otherwise, how to handle? That's why every time when we submit a new file for CPSP, you get a queue number, 100 over. Brother, boleh jam ke? Semua orang jam, macam mana buat? Jumpa pengarah lah. Pengarah nota, saya jam sikit lah. It's very tough for us. But this is the actual happening in the scenario. But not that we want to blame, but because of this whole theoretical maneuver, it's not workable. Okay? In spite of all these things, I'm not asking you, don't care. Don't help the surveyors. We are good professionals. Continue use 2 of 219. We continue to come in at risk and survey. At least we contribute to do something that we can hasten the delivery of strata titles. Thank you so much. Thank you, everybody.